Suzanne, it sounds like can kicking might become the new policy.
Well, very much so. I mean, we know that this trade truce, if you like, has recently been extended until November. And those comments there from the Treasury Secretary suggest that there is no rush to change things before then. As he said there, it's working well, as I see it. And I think the real focus now is whether a planned possible summit between President Trump and Xi Jinping takes place before the end of the year. We're expecting that may take place. There are some wrinkles, though. We've heard some complaints by US soybean producers, for example, that China isn't buying their soybeans. And this could become and increasingly become an issue for some US exporters.
So on that side of things, you have the China and U.S. trade talks going on. But, Suzanne, it also seems like amid this, you have India talking about closer trade ties to China. That's another sticking point for the U.S., where those negotiations remain. What does it say about the U.S. and India if you do have what seems to be like a push for them to look elsewhere?
Absolutely. That's what we're seeing now. India obviously was quite surprised by the level of tariffs that were imposed by Washington on New Delhi. And yes, this week we saw talks at a very senior level between India and China in New Delhi. India is obviously making sure it is looking elsewhere in case the trade relationship that it has with the United States deteriorate even further. Now, I mean, one of the big beefs that Donald Trump has with India is that it's purchasing Russian oil, and Bessent again repeated that concern yesterday. Of course, we know that it doesn't seem to have the same concern with China. It has not punished China for purchasing Russian oil, and yet it hit India with that 50% tariff, citing the fact that it was buying that Russia oil. Now, India said it did its own right to buy that oil at its cheapest level, but it does go to the heart of what's becoming an increasingly fractious relationship between the United States and India.
Hey, Suzanne, just before we let you go, we also had filings from the White House just laying out Trump's investments so far for this year. What did we learn?
Yeah, very interesting. This is about Donald Trump's investments in debt, both municipal debt and also corporate holdings. And some interesting names in there, companies like Home Depot, Meta, one of the companies in Meta as well. And I suppose it does raise a question of, you know, the US president's investments in companies which are being affected by his own policies in the White House. Now, US presidents are not obliged to divest their assets when they become president. Most presidents have done so. So Donald Trump has broken with precedent here. But this filing, he was obliged to file last night, and this is where we're getting those details from.